All right, so they've already released some of the changes for next year's Solfest. So let me go over some of that, and you're going to get an idea of where our future projects are headed here. Alrighty? So, as far as the regular classes are concerned, like this partner build, they haven't released anything on that yet, as far as if there'd be any changes. But I know this one ran great. I did horrible. But it wasn't quite fast enough regardless. So we're going to get into the other one. So this is the 50, the Husqvarna 50 with the Partner 5000 top end. We're going to get back into that one. The reason is because we got a box full of parts from Matt House. And this is this is my cylinder for the 046. TW gave me that. But this one here, we got a good viable cylinder that we could put on it. The thing is, the thing that was causing me issue at the races is it didn't have quite enough torque. I was able to lug it down too easy. Now this one has more torque. It just misbehaves. And I'm wondering, because we took the carburetor off of that saw to put on the partner build originally, and we discovered it had a bad carburetor. So I'm wondering if the carburetor might have just been causing our issue, or part of it. So I did pick up another carburetor. We're gonna get that guy back up and running, see how she does, see if it still misbehaves, but we're gonna see if it's faster than my other build. Because if that's faster, at least by a somewhat of a decent margin or whatever, we'll just leave it as is. Otherwise, we might do another build with another cylinder. We'll see. The G366, she's on methanol. I got nitromethane on the way. It should be here in a few days. So we are going to convert that from a methanol build. Now we're going to go to a nitromethane build. That's coming up. Definitely going to need that for the races. And I have been getting a lot better with my square chain for that saw as well. My 385, it didn't do so well. It's just not spinning enough RPM and everything. So I'm thinking we're just going to go in that, tweak it, and see if we can get a few more RPM out of it. I don't think we're going to start over. I think we're going to keep that saw, just make some tweaks and try to get a few RPM out of it. This Neotech we ran in our 82cc class, but it had a carb issue. And I'm actually towards the final stages right now. The carb's good. I got the ignition timing is off. And that's pretty much the final tweak for that saw. Just get the ignition set up, and that one would be good to go. But I have another 372 here that I'm putting a big bore on. I'm thinking about building that one as my 52 or 82cc class. I still have the Dalmar project. I just don't have all the parts here for it yet. And I do have all the parts here for the other 372 build. So we might end up building both of them and just seeing which one's faster. As far as the Wild Thing contest, I'm sure some of you have seen the videos on that stuff. Yes, we do have another Wild Thing we are building from the scratch up. It will be a nitromethane piped saw. So we are not going to be running the same saw as we did this last year. The carburetor actually went bad, I noticed. It's trying to feed too much fuel to the system. That's why it's sitting here like this. I was trying to figure out what was going on, and here it's the carburetor. The only reason it was able to run decent was because of the expansion chamber, and it's just overfueling the saw. So we're going to throw another carb on it, but we're going to go with nitromethane for another build, for a second build, and that's what it's sitting there for. It's ready to go. Just it's a typical Wild Thing. Cylinder and piston are good. It's just that thing hasn't been ran in a long time, cobwebs all over it and everything. We got to get her back up and running and everything. So yeah, we're getting there. Now the changes for next year are actually for the clones, the changes they made so far. The G366, no changes from this year. Still all the same rules. We can run whatever fuel we want, all that stuff. Basically, it's an unlimited build, just no expansion chamber type of stuff. Still has to run a muffler. The 372 clone, the bellhopper saw that we've been running, my goal is to replace that with one that I built tonight, I own and everything. This Neotech, I could potentially run it, but I do want one that I own. And this is Joey's. And he doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to do my best to convince him to attend next year. And then he would need this 372 to attend next year. You know what I mean? So let's see if we can get him convinced to attend, and then we can both run saws, you know? That's like the 660 we ran this year. That is Joey's saw. I'm trying to convince him to attend, so he would need the 660 to run next year, which is why I would have to buy a 660 to build for myself. But they are changing the rules in the 660 class to where you can actually choose between a 660 or a 395. And personally, I'm going to pick the 395. So since I was going to have to buy one in order to run in that class for myself or whatever, I'm going to choose the 395 to run. And I just got to pick one up. But they also added another class. They went big. So you can choose between the Stihl 880 or the 3120, but they got to be a clone. So the 880 clone or the 3120 clone. These are some big saws. What are they, 100 some odd cc? So that is going to basically be an unlimited class. Expansion chambers, nitromethane, everything. So we're going to have to pick up, well, I'm going to choose the 3120 build myself. So I'm going to have to pick up a 3120 clone and turn it into a piped nitromethane build. So, you know, we got a lot of work to do here. Now, the only saw that I'm not going to make any tweaks to is my 65cc saw. We took ninth on it with this year. It's actually a Dyno Joe's right now, so I can't show it to you. Whenever we get it back, we'll do some videos on it. But, yeah, that's the only saw I don't plan on changing, or only class or whatever. Everything else, I'm planning on doing a tweak or a new build or something. So some of them we're just going to do tweaks, like the 50cc class we basically already got a build. We're going to see if it outperforms the other one, and if it does, then we'll plan on running it. It might behave pretty badly, but for 3 cuts and done, who cares? Really? You know what I mean? 65cc's covered. The 82cc class, we're going to do a big bore 372, and we're going to do the Dalmar. Basically, whichever one ends up faster is the one we're going to run. I'm better with the 372 than I am the Dalmars, but we'll see. I just haven't done enough Dalmar builds to get really good with them. You know what I mean? And I think the next time around, you're going to notice a substantial difference. So we'll see how that goes. The 100cc class, we're running a 385, and it needs tweaked. It's definitely too slow to be competitive in that class. We could potentially build something else completely, but I've already got that built. We're just going to make some tweaks and see if we can get a little more out of it. You know what I mean? We got to do some tweaks to the 366. The 372, we're looking at a fresh build. The 660 or 395 or whatever, that's going to be a build from the ground up, and the 3120. So we got 3 builds from the ground up, and the rest are tweaks. 4 builds, sorry, because we're doing the Wild Thing. And they haven't announced anything for the cheap saw classes, so the Wild Thing may not even get ran this year. We don't know. We won't know until they announce it. I think the Wild Thing will. It's the other one, because they usually do 2 cheap saws. I'm curious about the second one. I think the Wild Thing will continue, though. So we'll see how she goes. Now, on top of all that work, I got other projects I got to get completed. We're going to insulate this side of the room. And we have to put in a door here and a door there. So that project is going to be starting here right away, a week or 2. I'm going to start by insulating probably halfway up the wall right there. I'm going to go all through that corner and up because I got to pull everything off the wall. This is why it's going to be a big deal. I got to pull everything off the wall, insulate it all, and then put all new shelves up and everything and get everything back up. Because then once that's done, then I come over to this bay where you see the welder hanging and everything, and I got to do it all over there. And then once that's done and I get my doors in, I'll be good to go for winter. I don't want to wait until the snow's falling to start doing this work. So my plan is to get started on that probably this weekend. Try to get the insulation up on those two walls. That way I'm ready to start on the doors and that other insulation a week after that. And in the meantime, I'm going to be doing some tweaks here and there. So right now, I'm actually getting ready to tweak on that Neotech to change the timing. I advanced the timing for the races, but now that I've made some tweaks and getting the carburetor sorted out and everything, it's running like the ignition timing is too far advanced. I can't get it to rev out, and it's acting funky. So I'm going to take the ignition timing back to factory and give it a try. You know what I mean? In fact, if you stick around, I'll try to show you a cut or two if I get that far. So if you don't see it, it just means I didn't get that far. But anyway, a little bit of changes there. We got some stuff happening. Nitromethane on the way and a lot of bills to do. Boy, it's going to be an exciting year, I'll tell you what. We got to do 2 expansion chambers. I got one. So the expansion chamber we were running on the Wild Thing, I plan on doing a different one because that expansion chamber is actually intended for another saw hanging up over there. I have one hanging here that I want to modify for the new Wild Thing. It's the exact same pipe. I'm just going to modify it to work with the new Wild Thing build. But we got that, and then we need another expansion chamber, or we will, for the 3120 project. So yeah, it's going to be a fun year. No, I got my Echo 590. I'm almost done with something pretty big deal on the 590. I figured something out, and once I get that sorted out or finished or whatever, I'm going to be showing that. So it's going to be a busy year. Oh, and I got my 046. I still haven't even talked about that, Eddie, and I want to do a full build on it, like pretty snotty. So yeah, boy, if I did a saw a month, I don't think I'd have everything done by Sawfest. So I'm not going to have everything done. We're just going to knock them off one at a time. We're going to focus on the ones that we need to do from the ground up. And the ones that just need tweaks, we won't worry about as much. So, or I should say, we'll squeeze them in the in-between spaces. You know, if we're waiting on parts, we'll squeeze in something like that. So, yeah. But anyway, hey, hope you enjoyed this one. Catch you later.